the record button. Okay, so I think welcome everybody to tonight's session. We will be doing a presentation on the Lumi Digital Currency and African digital currency revolution as championed by the State of the African Diaspora, the African Kingdoms Federation, as well as the ECO6 region. So Moa will take us through most of that presentation. So if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat functionality and post your question there. I'll be watching the chat and we'll respond to your questions there. Over and above, we'll bring your questions up and make sure that everybody has a hearing of the questions as they are posted and answered. At the end of the session, we will do a Q&A. So at that point, feel free to come off mute and ask your question accordingly. So if just a bit of housekeeping, please do not take the screen sharing. If at any point you are fiddling around with your device, please do not press the present button. It is a little try a square with an arrow in the middle. So please do not press that button because that will mean you are taking away the screen sharing from the person who's presenting. So without any further ado, I'm just going to quickly read through the comments that are in the chat and then I'll hand over to you more to start your presentation. In the interim, you can come off mute and set your presentation on the screen. I see the comment from Hazel joining from Pretoria, South Africa. Unoktula from Eswatini acknowledge those comments. And I'm going to hand over to you, Moa.
Thank you very much, Lerato. Is my screen showing?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let's see if
Oh,
we
yes,
can.
your screen is showing, just not the presentation. Yes, now
Okay.
the presentation is.
Showing. Okay. Thank you. And welcome to everyone who's joining us tonight. We appreciate your being present with us. We'll do the introduction of Lumi Digital Currency to Africa and the diaspora, which we also coin an African digital currency revolution. Now, we will speak to those elements, ECO6 formation, Africa's debt, and led by Queen Shiva III in terms of its eradication. We'll talk about Lumi Digital Currency, the agreement of free trade area and Africa's development. We'll also look at practicalities of Lumi and those that are using it, as well as Q&A and discussions and announcements at the end. Now, to kick off, African Union's economic regional communities were established beginning in 1991, 3 June, under the auspices of Organization of African Unity, where 5 economic regions were established. And on the 1st of August 2019, another economic community was established that is composed of community of states, nations, territories, and realms of the African diaspora, which is also called the ECO6 or 6th economic region. It is having more than 300 million people, including more than 6,000 indigenous communities throughout the Americas. Importantly, another step was achieved in March 2018 when African heads of states agreed and signed African Continental Free Trade Area. This is to enable Africa to trade with itself. Now, this makes Africa to have 6 economic communities and at regional level.
Why is it that a continent so rich in minerals, water, and fertile soil, we are counted among the beggars? Why?
The Africa we showed with 6 economic regions is faced with the question, why is Africa regarded the beggar when it's so rich? these problems are deeper than we can imagine.
Do you believe that the government of France still has a lot of control over a number of African nations, of their former colonies? They have significant control over all of their former colonies, specifically 14 of them. Just to give you the highlights of what they did when they were giving the independence, so to speak, to their former colonies. They forced them to sign a document which they are calling the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. You have to understand, on one hand, they are saying we're giving you independence, which turned out to be mostly political independence, but that you also have to sign this document, which is titled the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. So you're going to be independent, but you have to agree to continue to be colonized. So two countries said absolutely not. We're not going to sign those that document. Those two countries? Mali and Guinea. Okay. And what the French did, they went into those two countries, took everything that they thought they had brought to those two economies, poured concrete into the sewage pipes, and completely devastating the two economies. This was done as a way of letting the other countries know that if you do not sign this document, this is the fate that awaits you.
Now, Africa's economic wealth, we're trying to map it out here. This is how Africa is rich and yet regarded the poor continent. And these are minerals that are sustaining all the technological advancements that we see today. But Africa is the least to benefit from these.
Me, when I'm watching on television and I find our leaders who should have been working together all along to address these problems that commonly affect their countries, wait until they are invited to go to Europe, sit there and just, it's like they are made to sit down and address their problems. Why does anybody wait for that? What image does it even give about us, about Africa? In fact, the image it gives is that we're not there to even address these problems. We are there for a photo opportunity.
Now, Africa loses an estimate of more than 40 billion US dollars every year, and this compounds the situation of Africa even more. Now, Africa's time is now, and the next slides tell us of a great reset opportunity as led by ECO6, led by His Royal Highness Chief Timothy McPherson, the State of African Diaspora, led by Prime Minister Tin, Dr. Tin, and Queen Sheba III, Her Imperial Majesty, who holds various international roles, including in the Royal Kingdoms Federation. Now, His Excellency, His Royal Highness Chief Timothy McPherson, on the left, we see him shaking hands with African Union Deputy Chairman, Kwesi Kwate. And we have the Head of State of African Diaspora, Dr. Louis Georges Tin, who is the Prime Minister and also the Head of Secretariat of the ECO6.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sharon Chung, and I am the Minister of Family and Social Economy for the State of the African Diaspora.
Now, Dr. Cheryl is serving under Dr. Tin. And the third important institution is the Royal House, which is headed by Her Imperial Majesty Queen Sheba III, who is leading a major campaign to eradicate Africa's state. And we will share these links with you where the Queen is interviewed extensively on the plan and the vision of how to eradicate the debt and how Lumi will help in the process.
Our sun, it has been burning for over 4.5 billion years, and yet it is still less than halfway through its life. Worshipped by many civilizations and religions, it is the enabler and sustainer of all life on our world. The great continent of Africa. Truly, It is the cradle of life on our planet, and today it is home to many people and cultures. Bathed in sunlight, its jungles, deserts, mountains and plains have given rise to, and support, a rich diversity of wildlife. Africa is also rich in precious metals, minerals and agricultural resources, which have given rise to the wealth of industries and nations. But this wealth has not been wholly to the benefit of the nations of Africa, as this excerpt, from a speech by Malance Bart Williams, from Sierra Leone, suggests. One thing that keeps me puzzled, despite having studied finance and economics at the world's best universities, the following question remains unanswered. Why is it that 5,000 units of our currency is worth 1 unit of your currency, where we are the ones with the actual gold reserves? With all its mineral wealth, plus the abundance of daily sunlight, Africa has the ability to become an economic powerhouse. And this starts with creating a unifying, global non-fiat currency, one with real intrinsic value. Introducing the African Kingdom's Lumi, a non-fiat digital currency that is underwritten by an established unit value, equating to 100 kilowatt-hours of solar energy, at a market value equal to 0.2592 grams of gold, which equates to $15 and 96 cents per AK Lumi. The AK Lumi is classic money with the following features. 1. It is a store of value. 2. It is a unit of account. And 3. It is a medium of exchange. It is interesting to note that the most valuable currencies in the world are not the US dollar or the euro, but the Kuwaiti dinar, the Bahraini dinar, and the Omani riyal. This is because these semi-fiat currencies are underpinned by a correlation between their monetary policies and their hydrocarbon-based economies. The AK Lumi, being underpinned by gold and/or renewable solar energy, thus abandons the fiat currency system altogether and establishes its value as a premium currency on the global market, whilst restoring real value to African monetary policy. On the 1st of August 2019, the Economic Community of States, Nations, Territories and Realms of the African Diaspora 6th Region, or ECO6, was established by treaty and ratified by its member states. The ECO6 has become the second largest African institution in the world, after the African Union. The establishment of the ECO6 enables the African diaspora community to actively participate in the economic transformation, trade integration, and emancipation of continental Africa at a global level. The introduction of the AK Lumi as a single global African currency will stimulate unprecedented economic growth and the elimination of debt. As of April 2021, the AK Lumi was being used in some 142 countries, and by the beginning of 2022, it is expected that the adoption and use of the digital currency will become global. The AK Lumi will not only unite Africans across the continent and throughout the diaspora, but will also give them the financial freedom and respect that has been unrighteously usurped for too long. The economic revolution has already begun, and it will ultimately foster enhancements in business, international trade, employment, quality of life, education, health services, technology, communications and transportation. And so the goal of a prosperous Africa, built by Africans, for Africans, can finally be realized. The African Kingdom's Lumi, bringing unity, self-determination, financial freedom, growth, prosperity and the elimination of debt to all people of Africa.
Now, we advise people not to ignore digital currency. We advise them to grab it while there is a chance given by Lumi. Wall Street, according to CNBC, the banks in the Wall Street are bracing for digital currency or digital dollars as the next big disruptive force. South African Reserve Bank is also mulling or thinking deeply about the question of digital rand, and But Caribe is actually saying it as it is, that this is digital currency war. And on the left, you see how there's a reflection on South Korea's struggles in finding its place in the crypto economy. Now, Lumi is the most unique currency that Africans have issued in their name for them, for their development, for the African continent's development, and it needs to be protected. And it can be protected if Africans can acquire it, register to acquire it, as many Africans as possible. That is why we are inviting all Africans and African-owned enterprises in the continental Africa, those in the and also those in the diaspora, 18 years and above, to register by applying for a SWIFT account. This is for free. There's no charge. You do it as an individual or as an enterprise. And after application, you qualify to receive 6.2 Lumi on a monthly basis on the 28th until 2023 October. Financial support is also available in the form of credit amounting to a minimum of equivalent of 10,000 US dollars, available to those who are registered as companies, as businesses, as enterprises, as merchants. There's also an opportunity to access online marketplaces that are Africa-wide and diaspora-wide, where you can use your Lumi to trade, where you can use your Lumi to purchase, where you can also advertise your services and products, and they can be purchased by any African who's in the platform across the African continent and the diaspora.
I want to tell you a little bit about my experiences with the Lumi. I registered in October and was able to get my first stimulus. And so I have been collecting my stimulus for October, November, December, January, and today I got my stimulus for February. And so I have all of that money accumulated in my virtual wallet. That's the equivalent of 500 US dollars in Lumi.
Now, we want to answer the question how to register myself.
How do I register myself? It's a easy and simple process. Simply download the Eco6 Lumi application from Play Store or iStore, whether you are an iOS or Android user. And that is the icon with the green horn against the gold background. Else, you can go onto your laptop, your computer, and go to the URL platform.swifin.com and click at the register button at the top right, and then you can register. Prior to going through the registration, we recommend that you take a couple of pictures of your identification document. So the details page of your identification document, a selfie with the details page, as well as the back of the ID document, just to highlight that if this is an ID book, this will be the front of your ID where it is written the country of issue. Then once you have all these documents, then you can proceed with your registration. You then will need to capture your names as they appear on your ID document and then provide an email address and click on the next button. And you need to select whether you're opening a business account or an individual account. Please note, if you're opening a business account, additional documentation will be required, and this is documentation that pertains to your company registration document as well as your company proof of address. So those will be two documents that you will be required to upload over and above. So have them scanned and ready to upload. And then once you have selected which account you are uploading, the steps are basically the same. You'll click next. You'll need to provide your mobile number using the international dialing standard. That is +27 whatever your number is based on the country you are in. If you're in Swaziland, for example, +268. And then your local, under local currency, you need to capture the country that you are in. And under member institution on the African continent, we use the member institution Swifin Limited Uganda, in brackets, Swifin Limited Uganda. And once you have captured these details, upload a profile picture, select a username, and provide a password and a confirmation thereof. Remember, these are credentials you will use to log yourself into the platform going forward. Then you'll need to capture your address. If you are opening a business account, please note that this should be the same address as on the proof of address document that you're uploading, your country, as well as your date of birth. And then you will need to upload these documents that we started talking about, the front of the ID, the selfie with the front of the ID, the back of the ID, and then capture your ID number as it appears on your identification document. And click next. Then the last portion, you need to capture a referrer Swifin ID. So the person who has referred you to this revolution will then give you their Swifin number, and you can capture it there and then enter them as the person who recommends you. And you will be at the end of your registration. Please note that your registration at this point will show up as your account as pending. You will be issued with your own Swifin number that you can give to other people when you refer them to this revolution that they can use to join, and your login details and other credentials will be displayed to you. With your pending account, you will be eligible to receive the monthly stimulus that is loaded on the 28th. However, you log into the platform, you will have a little bit of limited functionality in terms of the things that you can do. For example, you not have access to the Swifin platform marketplace, but all other things, once your account is approved, then you have access to all the things that you need. On that note, welcome aboard. Over to you, Mo.
Thank you. Now, importantly, it is highly recommended that we first empower ourselves through various courses, including NetFem courses that are an empowering, platforms or other opportunities in the platform. This, for example, teaches you on personal health, on how to produce your own healthy food, how to eat what you produce, how to even process what you produce in excess that can be sold. And it shows you therapeutic farms and gardens, and it's only 3 Lumi, which is more than the value is more than the amount you pay. There's multiple other many courses on www.lumicourses.com that you can empower yourself on, so that we keep on renewing our minds with a new Lumi vision and its objectives. These are some of the excellencies and royalties that are speaking and coaching and facilitating in some of those courses.
So, now my purse doesn't only have 500 Lumi in it, because I have been selling my products and my services and my books in Lumi on my site. I just go on the Swifin platform, and my friends who know what I sell, who are also registered for the Lumi, have asked, can I pay you in Lumi? I said, absolutely. I would prefer to save Lumi than any other currency in the world, because it's going to continuously increase in value. So I do therapeutic products. I'm a disease reversal specialist. And so I have products for the reversal of every known disease. These I have developed over probably 20, 30 years. And the basis to this is moringa. So let me give you a little tip there. And then I have books that I have published. They're on Amazon, but I prefer to sell them on the Swifin platform in Lumi to my friends. So I sell my books, I sell my products, and I also sell my services.
Now, does it mean all our problems are solved? A big no. We still have to construct multiple livelihood ecosystems in all sectors of society. But the most important thing, we should start local and avail your products or your services in Lumi, partially or in full. An important message we emphasize: no one is coming to do it for us. There is no ready-made system that will simply cause us to plug in. We have to develop it ourselves, and it is an opportunity that is given to us to construct the Africa we want. It is our direct responsibility. Now, a standing invitation that we encourage everyone attending tonight to please attend. It is happening tomorrow night at 6 p.m. and the Zoom details, we're happy to share them with you. This is hosted in the Queen's Court by Queen Sheba III herself.
Mr. Mbele. The session was power-packed. I even got myself 7 Lumi coins. Thank you so much for the exposure. I really, really appreciate it. I feel grateful. This is big, Mr. Mbele. One Africa, no poverty, inclusion, and everybody's got opportunity to participate, whether it be growing their own businesses, access to funding. Let's start using this Lumi platform. Let's start using it. Let's not stop talking about it. Let's teach our people. Each and every member of our families must have this. Each and every person must have this.
Now, I'm going to end there and not go into that demonstration unless if there's a specific request. We are present on social media. How to make Lumi work for you is an important question that is answered by Lumi.Africa. That is found in Lumi.Africa /Lumi City. We're also on Facebook and also on YouTube. If you Google Africa Lumi Digital Currency on Facebook or Vanto on YouTube, you'll pick us up. And this is re-educating people on how to enter into this space of developing Africa. Thank you. I hand back to you, Lerato.
Thank you so much, Moa. I think at this point we'll move into the quick Q&A section of the session. So I would just ask, if you have any questions or comments, please head over to the chat and you can pop your questions or comments there. Else, please use the come off mute and capture your questions or comments there. I want to just head over to the chat and just acknowledge Memashishi's comment or question. As we are we able to withdraw this money? If not, how long is it going to take us to be able to use this money? And maybe can we have steps on how it works? So I saw Ntate Vanto, you are here. I'm just going to ask you to just talk to, are we able to withdraw this money? How can we make use of it? And what are the steps?
If you allow me to interject, Lerato, please allow me to just, before Ntate Vanto comes in, to acknowledge the presence of various excellencies, especially Dr. Hamza, who is serving in the Queen's Kingdom directly, and we acknowledge other leaders. We see Dr. Gilbert Banda is also joining us, and other excellencies that we may not be able to identify now, but please feel welcome as our leaders and also speak to some of the questions and enlighten us. Yeah, handing to you, my leader, Vanto.
Thank you, sir. Lumi is an opportunity for us to learn how to start on our new currency. Therefore, as I said yesterday, if we make an example with a Bitcoin cryptocurrency, it took it 18 months just to buy the first pizza, just one pizza. It took Bitcoin 18 months. We know that today they say Bitcoin is better than gold, but it took it 18 months to buy just one pizza. And they were holding to it more than 2 years for them to start making or buying something out of it. It is today the encouragement of Lumi, like any new currency when it begins, to say, hold on to this money. We are not 18 months yet. We are just 8 months or 9 months at the least. So it is encouraged for us to hold on, like all the other currencies in how they have begun. They held on to those currencies up to 3 years. The encouragement is to hold on, because by holding on, we are strengthening the opportunities of our ecosystems. At this point in time, my encouragement to you is to say, hold on to it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Vanto. I see, Moa, do you want to speak to the value of the Lumi?
Yes, thank you, Lerato. Already we mentioned that Lumi, as is indicated in the video, that is an equivalent of 15.96 US dollar. And there's obviously a formula on how to work this out from the solar energy and directly linking it to gold. But the ultimate value is 15.96 one Lumi. Thank you.
Okay. At this point, if there are any other questions or comments, please feel free to come off mute and ask your questions or comments. I think while we are here, just to highlight, if you are on your mobile, if you touch your screen, the meeting controls will pop up and you'll be able to unmute yourself there. If you're on your desktop, laptop type of device, at the bottom of the meeting, you will see your meeting controls and you can unmute yourself there. So, any other questions or comments? And while we are there, I am going to just ask His Excellency Dr. Humber just to maybe come off mute and greet the audience and maybe share a couple of remarks. Hansa, sorry, Dr. Hansa.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Sorry that I'm just joining the meeting at this time. I just come from another meeting. I'm not too sure. I just came on the tail end when you were referring to the value of the Lumi in its comparison to the dollar. Are you guys are aware of how we get to the $15.96? Is everybody aware of how we get to that?
I think if you can enlighten us.
Okay, so just to, and if it has been said already, I apologize. But basically, there are three types of currencies in the world. The one being the fiat currency, the other being a semi-fiat currency, and the third being a non-fiat currency. Just to explain to you, a fiat currency is a currency like the rand, the dollar, the pound. All the currencies in the world are what they're called fiat currencies. So a fiat currency is a currency without intrinsic value. So for example, if I take my 100 Rand and I want into the bank and I say to the bank, can you give me the value of my 100 Rand? The only thing the bank will most probably be able to give you is maybe, hopefully, your 100 Rand in return, or it will take off a few cents for admin as well. So that's what all currencies in the world has no intrinsic value at the moment. Then we have the semi-fiat currencies, the currencies in the Arab world, the UAE. Most of them are backed by oil, but they're partly backed by oil. So that is why it's called non-fiat I'm sorry, semi-fiat currencies. Now, the Lumi is the first and only current currency that is called a non-fiat currency. So, for example, if I take my one Lumi and I want to exchange it for its value, I would get in return 100 kilowatt hours of energy. So that 100 kilowatt hours of energy I can exchange for 4 grains of gold. Now, the value of 4 grains of gold at the moment is basically the 15.96 US dollars. And that's how we get to the valuation of the Lumi. Now, one must also realize that the current valuation of the Lumi is the lowest that it will ever be. It can only get higher than that. It won't go lower than that. Are we in understanding?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So yeah, is there anything else in particular that you guys need to be answered? Even if it's not to do with the Lumi, but if it's got to do with the African kingdom, you may ask those questions as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Hansa. I think we'll just pause here and just take a couple of more questions, and and I think one of the question is Lumi built in its own blockchain? And I think I'm gonna refer that to you, Dr. Hamza.
Hello,
Hello.
I didn't hear the question.
Is the Lumi built in its own blockchain?
Okay, so when we talk specific fiscal, I'm not the expert on fiscal per se. So I don't really understand the question because I don't come from a fiscal background. Let me just reiterate what my position is within the African Kingdom Federation. So I serve as the Minister of Culture and Sport within the kingdoms. And my main focus is to present the 2024 World African Indigenous Games. That's one. And two, we're also looking at doing the African version of the Eurovision um, Music Festival within the next 3 to 4 years. So that's my main focus. However, the Queen has asked me to try and mobilize and try and keep the information that is going out throughout the Southern Africa where I'm based, so that the information that goes out, we speak with one voice per se, and that we don't kind of overemphasize certain things. One and two, that the information that's given is not fabricated or over elaborated, because people tend to kind of take the concept of what is happening and try and convince people to come on board. I just want to give you guys one example. I There was a kingdom, and I don't want to mention any names, that I met with, and I did a pitch to the king and everyone, and there was major excitement about getting involved, and from that day and a month later, they hadn't come back to me at all, and I reported to the queen that I've done whatever I needed to do, and all she said to me was, "Dr. Hamza, don't worry. People who don't want to come along now, it's fine. They will join at some point, because everybody joins at the point where they are comfortable." And that is what we're trying to emphasize. We don't need to force people to take the Lumi, for example. Don't force people to come on board with the African Kingdom Federation. Let them come at their time when they're comfortable. So I'm sorry that I cannot really answer that question, but what I will do is I will get the answer from not from anyone other than the Crown Prime Minister. And in fact, do you guys have an invite to tomorrow night's meeting?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so tomorrow night, if the same person could attend the meeting and put the question in the inbox during the summit, the right answer you will find. I don't want to give an answer that I think is right. I want to give you the right answer. I hope that's okay with you people.
Awesome. That's fine. Thank you so much. I think I'll go through. I see that Evanto, you have raised your hand that you want to speak to the same question. And
Thank
Evanto,
you.
if you can come off
The
mute.
question, the question is saying, is Lumi built on a blockchain? Now, after 2008, when there was a financial collapse, there was a new idea of a blockchain, which means we don't want to belong to any central bank. We want decentralized places where we can build on money. That is where cryptocurrencies began. And that is a decentralized space in the cyber, and that is a blockchain. But with us, we are not a decentralized digital currency. A decentralized digital currency is called a crypto, but we are a centralized digital currency of a central bank. Now, a central bank digital currency is a new concept, which is still new in many countries. Others are still making experiments on it. But with us, together with the digital yuan in China, we are already operating on that money. Therefore, this is a digital currency, but it is not built on a decentralized place. It is built on a central bank. That is why it is called a CD, a
CP.
central bank digital currency. So that is what it is. So it is central, it is not a decentralized one.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Vanto.
If I may just come in there, Dr. Vantu, you have explained it 100%. As accurate as that. I do in a way though worry that we're always comparing the Lumi to cryptocurrency. There's no comparison. I don't, because that's one of the most famous questions that come out. Is it crypto? It's it's not crypto. The Lumi is a physical currency. It's an online currency, but it's a physical currency. I think that also needs to be emphasized.
Definitely, definitely,
Can I,
Dr.
can I
Hamza.
just come in there? Dr. Hamza, we do have a whole lot of lessons that we have given on our videos that are showing the difference between cryptocurrencies and central bank digital currencies. So we are just trying to show people the difference between the two and why is the other one responding to the other. So we are not saying they are the same thing.
Noted, Dr. Vantu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hamza and Dr. Vanto. Perpetua has a question there. I want to apply for the loan to buy the land so that I can grow crops and do animal husbandry. How will I apply since this is not a company? Moa, do you want to speak to that? You are on mute.
Thank you very much, Lerato. I think the question says he wants to apply for a loan for the land. I think that it's a little bit tricky for me to answer that because the loan is an equivalent of 10,000 US dollars. I'm not sure if you will be able to secure land for that amount. But Perpetua, let us perhaps talk on the side because this loan should be paid back as well. So I think the basic questions that I would ask, for example, is if you buy land, do you have equipment? Will you be ready to produce immediately? Do you have the market? And there's a whole lot of other aspects. So perhaps imagine something much easier that can help you have a return to be able to pay back the loan. But I'm not, shooting your idea down. It sounds brilliant. However, it may not necessarily be possible with an equivalent of 10,000 US dollars. Thank you. I'll just pause it there. And perhaps, Lerato, if you allow me, I know that I seem to have seen Dr. Chong joining us, Her Excellency, the Minister of Family and Social Economy. I know that we have also other leaders who just joined us. I thought I should just quickly make that notice.
Thank you so much, Mo. I'm just going to open the floor for Sis Tammy. I see you have a question you'd like to ask. If you can come off mute and ask your question, and then I'll do acknowledgements afterwards, and then we can hopefully still be on time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I actually have a question for His Excellency Dr. Hamza. I heard he touched on the value of the Lumi, and more often than not, we come across people asking us the same question, where they are saying that if we say that the Lumi is backed by solar energy and packed with gold, are there any reserves of this gold somewhere that can be physically exchanged for the Lumi? And if they use the Lumi to buy products and they collect all these Lumis, how do they, make the Lumi to be fluid for their businesses? Can they take these Lumis physically and get the gold or get the solar energy? Those are the kind of questions we can't really answer specifically, and I am hoping that Mr. Hamza would be able to assist us in terms of answering these questions in a way they should, and not in a way that they would misrepresent the very essence of the Lumi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tami. Look, it's a very, very good question. And as difficult as it is for you to answer it, most probably will be equally difficult for me. But however, what I can say though is that on the current platform where the Lumi is traded, whatever is on that platform, you can trade in. You can spend your Lumi on whatever is currently operating on that platform. So if there's gold reserves on that platform, you could buy your gold there. So this is the building process, for example. However, if you go to the Central Bank of Akapa, I'm sure you'd be able to go there and get your value for your Lumi, because that is what is being said. So as far as my understanding is that one can currently trade with what is available on the platform. I'm not sure that answers your question though.
Thank you so much for the answer, but not necessarily.
I see Dr. Cheryl wants to pitch in, if you may.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to congratulate you on the work you have been doing. I have been sharing your link right around the world, and people have been learning a lot from this roundtable and this particular series that you're doing. Now, there are two things I would like to speak with. One, the purpose for the Lumi, and two, the trading with the Lumi. First, let me look at the purpose for the Lumi. The purpose for the Lumi is to distribute to all persons of African descent a common currency, so that we can take back control of our financial system. There are three systems that currently control the world. They are the health system, the media system, and the financial system. The health system controls the physical, mental, and spiritual health of everyone who comes under it. The media system controls the minds, and therefore every action that is taken by human beings. The financial system controls all the interactions of trade, money, and means of exchange, wealth. And those three systems are the systems that SOAD has made a decision to take over and control. Without the control of these three systems, we cannot take back control of our resources, whether it is our personal resources, our community resources, or our national resources. The control of these three systems are pivotal for our getting back the others. So I just want to touch on the health and the media and then go into the financial. The health system means that in each nation, we have to go back to our natural health protocols and move away from all medical protocols. That's one. That's the only way we take back the health system. We have to reject all medical protocols. I am a medical researcher. I have my area is molecular medicine and psychiatry. And so I am trained in that area, but I do not practice in that area because I recognize the harm it has done to humanity. So that's the health. The second one is the media. Unless we are in control of our own media, we cannot change the mindsets of those who have been conditioned by 400 years of mental slavery. And so each nation and each community has to have their own network of informing and communication. That I will not expand on. But those two are absolutely pivotal, foundational, and must be addressed in order for us to get to the financial control. So I now want to look at the financial control. In order to get back our financial control, we have to do the health and the media first. Then we have to start distributing, which we have, our own currency. The issue of whether it is backed by gold or financial or it is a fiat currency is not important. The fact that we have the most valuable currency in the world is important for us, but it is not important for us to use it or to trade with it, because any system that is embraced and supported can be used for exchange of goods and services. That is what the fiat people are doing. The US has no value. US dollar has zero value, right? And all they're doing is propping it up by accepting it and forcing it on us. Now, if we decided to embrace the Lumi and distribute it widely, then we will have total control of our financial system. However, at this time, the purpose of the Lumi is one, distribution, wide set distribution. And it is not envisioned that we should be looking to trade with the Lumi at this time. While we are trying to get traders and business people on board, that is not our major thrust. Our major thrust is for us to acquire and save towards investment with our Lumi, because it is only when others have the Lumi that we can trade with them. At this time, the Lumi may not be exchanged for any other currency. It has to be traded only with others who have the Lumi. That means when you register on the Swiftin platform, you are to also make sure that if you are a company, you go to the marketplace and list all your products so that you can trade in those products with other people who have the Lumi. So it is register. If you are a company, then you go to the Swiftin platform, list your products, and you can trade with everybody else who has it. If you are not a company and you are an individual, then you go to the Lumi marketplace, which means you don't need a company to list your products. You, as an individual, can register on the Lumi marketplace, which is the SOAD Lumi marketplace. And you can list all your whatever you want to sell. If you want to sell something, your excess of what you grow in the ground, if you want to sell a product that you make, it doesn't matter how little or how lot, and that listing is also free. It is SOAD's Lumi marketplace, right? And you can list whatever you want to sell as an individual, or what you can also inquire for what is on the marketplace and available in Lumi in your hemisphere. Now, the marketplace has been taken down for today, tomorrow, and Tuesday in order to put on it a new program to list all the products that are available in Lumi in each country, which means that you will need to go on the marketplace and list your products. The information of what is available in Lumi is pivotal for us to be able to trade in Lumi. So outside of those two areas, then you can have a marketplace in your locality, which is a private operation, where you list the goods and services that you have for sale in local funds or in part Lumi and part local funds. So those are the three opportunities that we have for trading with the Lumi. The other one, which I started off with, was just informing my friends. You can buy my lunches, you can buy my products, you can use my services. And this is just on a WhatsApp group or a Lumipreneurs platform where you just share that information so that we know where and what is available for to buy and to sell, to trade in Lumi and in part Lumi. So now you know that our communication system is so important for informing us what the truth is about the Lumi. It is important that the person who is registering someone also gives them this body of information, because without it, you have all these questions about crypto and digital, and we cannot look at the Lumi just as something to spend. We have to look at the Lumi as something to empower us to build our health system, our communication system, media, and our financial system. We are now laying the foundation. It's not time to look at spending, spending, spending. However, we
Indeed.
were surviving before this time, we need to keep those survival protocols in place so that we can lay a proper foundation for the Lumi. Now, I have said a lot, and I hope I have been clear. If there are any questions, our
Yeah.
moderator can direct them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chong. Quite insightful. I think the biggest thing you mentioned is the mind reset that is required. And I know, Sis Temi, I know that you have a question. I acknowledge and I apologize that we have gone a little bit over time. I'm going to give over to Sis Temi to ask her question, and Dr. Chong, you can take the answer to that question, and then we'll wrap up tonight's session on that note. Sis Temi, if you can ask your question.
Thank you for taking my question, Lerato. And I want to thank Dr. Sean for a very detailed clarity, because we really need it when we are talking to people. And every time we talk to people, we come across a lot of questions that we need to explain to people. Now, what I would like, I think I need some advice here on how to handle this, because we understand that Lumi is a digital currency as we are moving along with the digital transformation agenda. Now we have people from the rural areas who would like to partake from this, and they would need things like your data, your airtime, and stuff like that. And we might have people who are willing to sell this in exchange for the Lumi. We actually have them at the moment who say, I can offer airtime, I can offer data, I can offer mobile phones in exchange for Lumi. But now the bottleneck is that we still have, we haven't really built complete ecosystems as yet. So we still depend on the market and the suppliers for some of the products. So I may offer the airtime, but I still have to go to the mobile network operator to buy it, and they don't accept the Lumi. Now, I know it's going to be very difficult to having to talk to those corporates and bend them to accept the Lumi. So the question I have for Dr. Strong is that, understanding that we can only trade within the marketplace, which is the only way we can have the Lumi circulated and distributed widely. But how do we look at the situation where I have this 10,000 credit line I want to use to empower myself in my business, but I have this bottleneck of not having the suppliers on the marketplace that are offering what I need. Is there maybe some kind of a solution to that?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very, very important questions that we all have gone through already in Jamaica, because we were at the beginning when the Lumi was distributed. We made a plan of how the program is supposed to go forward. And to answer those questions, nobody is to access that $10,000 unless they already have. This is just advice, okay? This is not a rule. But unless you have a thriving business that is bringing in fiat, okay, then you cannot use the Lumi at this time to advance your business. So those of us who downloaded our 10,000 Lumi, we have just put it to sit, Okay? And I just said to somebody the other day, I have 3 accounts, and I have been getting Lumi since October. I have not spent any Lumi to date. I am just accumulating and using my fiat to do my business. So I am speaking to the business people now, and then afterwards I'll speak to the other person. The business people need to now facilitate those who want to purchase stuff by offering a percentage of their stuff in Lumi and offering what they need to go back to market to get their raw materials with in fiat, so that you sustain your business while you are still helping persons. Let me repeat that. I recommend that you offer your products at a percentage of Lumi. Let's say your profit and your overhead that you can accommodate. You offer that in Lumi, and whatever you need to go back to buy your raw materials and to pay your staff to make it, just raw materials and labor that you have to pay out, you offer that segment in fiat. By fiat, I mean local currency. So that's how I have proceeded. So if somebody wants to buy something from me, I say 50% Lumi, 50% fiat. So you have an opportunity to use your Lumi, but the other part that I need to go back to market to get my raw materials and to pay my staff, I offer in fiat. That's for the business people, so that you don't have a problem. But my 10,000 is still sitting. I'm not using it yet. Now, for the individuals, and how can they benefit from having the Lumi? First of all, we want to empower the persons. I don't know if you are aware that the Queen of Sheba and the African Federation of that she's in charge of, she has stopped persons from registering others for the Lumi because of all the misuse and fragmentation. She has sent out a team of persons in each country who is trained in life skills to empower the people before they are allowed to be introduced to the Lumi. Now, we're so disconcerted, we decided that we would give a course, we would give a scholarship to every person who has been registered for the Lumi to empower them in the areas of health, in the areas of life skills, in the areas of agriculture, of entrepreneurship, of financial management, of purpose, of mind control, and how to take back control of every resource of their families, of their communities, and their nations. This course is supposed to be the second step in every person's life who gets the Lumi. You get 6.26, and the first expenditure you should make is take 3 Lumi, which is a registration fee. The course costs $2,900 US. We are asking you to take 3 Lumi out of the first gift we give you and register for the course. Why? That course will empower you to renew your health, start a business, and It is after you make value added products, and it is at that point that we recommend that you download the 10,000. That is after 3 months. Download the 10,000, because at that point, all the other persons who have Lumi will also have goods that you can purchase. And that's what we did in Jamaica. So, having gone into this course for 3 months, all of us are producing goods and services. We are selling our ground provision to each other, and we are selling our value added goods to each other, and we are now contributing to the import substitution of the country, where there are many of us that will not use any imported product. We don't eat it, we don't wear it, and we don't have it in our homes. We all produce it, because by class 3, the third month, you now are a producer of something that used to be imported. That is what the course is for. So you don't need money to buy land. You need the empowerment to start planting on the land you have now. I am talking about people who have, 2 feet around their house, and they're able to become financially strong on that amount of land. So you have to use what you have, and the course shows you how to use whatever you have, especially those things that are being wasted around you. So I'm going to stop here, because it's a lot to talk about, but this is what the leadership of SWAD has done in order to empower persons to be strengthened and to come to the place where they have the wherewithal to move forward and up there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chung. I think I might just first start by apologizing, everyone. We are a little bit over time tonight, but the information that has been shared tonight is amazing. So this gives us an opportunity to all go back and chew on this bone and really go and transform our minds. I want to just acknowledge the presence of Dr. Sharon Chong, who is the Minister of Family and Social Economy for SOAD, as well as Dr. Bobby Hamza, who is in the Ministry of Sports and Culture for the Africa and Eco 6. So I acknowledge those. I also want to acknowledge everybody that's here, all the queens, princesses, kings that are present in our midst. I will not go through everybody, but thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining this meeting tonight, and I do appreciate it. So let's just go out there and work at the transformation of our minds, because I think that is the big thing that is a takeaway for me that has been echoed quite significantly by Dr. Chong. Let us transform our minds. Let us start to rebuild uh, our thought systems, and not rebuild them on exactly the systems that they were built on previously, but rebuild them on a different system. On that note, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining our meeting tonight. And I do appreciate, I apologize for going over time. I will at this point adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.